Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Civivi Plethiros. This is another new Elijah Isham design from Civivi. He just came out with the Anthropos. We'll see that here in just a moment. I will put them next to each other so you can see them together. This one a bit more swoopy and more Isham-y than the Anthropos, but still a very practical, really good design. I'm loving these Civivi collabs with Isham. Even though they're fairly budget priced, this one is $74.80. They and G10 D2 liner locks. They're maybe my favorite things that he's designed. Some of his other stuff is a bit crazy and cool, but it wasn't anything I really like to carry, where both of these are knives that I really do enjoy carrying, both the Civivi collabs. And as I said, this is the new one, and I'm rushing this review out to get it. I will say right up front, I've only had this for a day, but I got it from White Mountain Knives, and they are available on White Mountain Knives right now, and you can use my discount code SDWMK at checkout. And their Civivis, everything Civivi comes out with goes away really, really quick, and then it comes back again. So I'm putting this up as the time I'm recording this, all three colors were available. I apologize if they're gone by the time you watch it, but at the time I'm recording this, all three colors are available. Those three colors are this black, a tan, and a green. The tan and green, just the G10 is tan or green. Obviously, the carbon fiber is still carbon fiber. But as I said, D2 construction, or D2 steel, liner lock construction, G10 handles with this carbon fiber overlay. Civivi does a pretty good job with that. It's still clearly an overlay, but it looks all right. And you're getting my preferred Civivi clip, the deep carry loop over clip. Very, very cool design. I'm going to bring the Anthropos out here so you can see them together. Both of these, I like both these designs. They have the typical Isham eye holes, is what I call them. And we were joking on Instagram. I think he approves of me calling them that. At least he seemed to. If not, sorry. But as you can see, I think the Anthropos is maybe a bit more, I don't know what better word to use. I'm going to say pedestrian. You can't call any Isham design pedestrian, but this one is a bit more, a bit more normal looking, where the Plethiros is definitely, I think, a much more typical Isham design, but still extremely usable, which you'll see as we go through in this review. I mean, you can see it's not that much bigger than the Anthropos. I think I was kind of expecting to be a bit bigger. You've got a 3.45 inch blade versus a 3.25 inch blade. But it's really not that much bigger. It really isn't. I'm going to try and line up the pivots as best I can here. Yeah, it's not really that much bigger. So I think it's more just if you're trying to decide between the two, I was going to do a comparison between these, but I can just say right now, it's just whether you like the ergonomics of one over the other or you like the look of one over the other. There's no real need for a comparison review. Other than that, they're pretty much identical in most ways. Let's do some specs and some size comparisons before we get too much farther. We already got one size comparison out of the way here. Cat hair, I apologize. And also I apologize if you hear a cat running around, because one of my cats is being very affectionate today, and she was scratching and meowing at the door, so I had to open it. You have an overall length of 7.9 inches, blade length, as I said, 3.45 inches, blade thickness 0.12 inches, handle thickness 0.51, and a weight of just 3.17 ounces. And I will say, they get the golf clap because I weighed it, and it weighed exactly 3.17 ounces. So Civivi gets the golf clap for that one. Some size comparisons, we will put it in our usual Spyderco sandwich between your Paramilitary 2 and Para 3. And as you can see, much closer in PM2 size than it is to Para 3 size, as you expect by the stats. A lot more usable cutting edge, though, than you're getting on the PM2 for sure. And then what else do we want to put it up against that I have out here? Oh, we'll bring out one or more of the regulars. We'll bring out the you have your Benchmade 940. So a little bit longer than the 940. And this is kind of useless, but it's here, and because you guys haven't even seen the review of it yet. But this is the Best Tech Ascot. The Ascot's a little bit bigger. Pretty cool knife, by the way. I'll be doing that review here in a couple of days, probably. So let's talk more about this knife. First of all, most important thing, the blade. Again, this is, if you watch my comments about my review of the Anthropos, this is going to be kind of double of that, except for that this is a longer blade with a lot of more usable cutting edge. And the thing that they both have in common, we, Civivi, are very fond of being very thin behind the edge lately. 15 thousandths behind the edge. Not bad at all. Thin blade stock, as I said, 0.12 inches. Very high full flat grind, and this is a laser beam. Just like the Anthropos is, this is a total laser beam. It is an awesome, awesome, awesome slicer. The tip, not too robust. It's a bit dainty. Let me pull out the Anthropos again here, and we will just compare them very quickly. About the same. The Plethiros is the one on the right, by the way, if you can't see that. Maybe it's a bit more robust than the Anthropos, but still a pretty dainty tip. Nothing I'd really worry about for EDC use, but it's definitely not going to be a pry bar, but I don't think it's intended to be that. Ergonomically, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It definitely has more of that Isham flavor that you expect, where your finger is way higher than the blade. It makes it awesome for food prep and stuff. I kind of rushed the review on this, so my tasks that I had to do today is I had to cut up a bunch of cardboard, which this thing is awesome at. And then I also had to do some stuff in the kitchen. I'm cooking dinner tonight, so I was cutting up some vegetables and stuff in advance so I can just throw them in the wok when it's time to go. And I used this for that, and it worked fantastically. It's an excellent kitchen knife. It's better than the Anthropos when it comes to that. If you're doing food prep stuff, man, you can just get totally flat, super easy. Even if you have to, you can move your finger back even a little bit more. It is great. I mean, it's Spidey Chef good in the kitchen, I do have to say. I was very, very impressed with it when it comes to that. But again, it just has these, the blade ergonomics, or the handle ergonomics, I think work very, very well. It is very comfortable in the hand. You can definitely feel that pocket clip a bit more than you can on the Anthropos, because this is a thinner handle. And when you're holding it back here, you can definitely feel it. It's a comfortable clip, though. I wouldn't call it a hot spot, but you can absolutely feel it. You can choke up on it fairly easily. Again, maybe a bit easier than the Anthropos. Again, it's not like a true finger choil. You can definitely slide forward on. I wouldn't want to do anything heavy duty while choked up with it. But there's plenty of room for any normal size human finger to land there and be able to choke up. And when you do, it's a comfortable place to land. There's no jimping on here, but it doesn't need it. It really doesn't. I guess I wouldn't hate it if it had a little bit here, right behind the pivot, but it doesn't need it by any means. But I wouldn't hate it if it had it. Yeah, it's pretty good ergonomics, I do have to say. And carry wise, it's also good. Isham is very fond of these very small forward flipper tabs. We'll talk a lot more about that in a moment. But what that means is when it's in your pocket, here's this nice deep carry clip. What it means is when it's in your pocket, there's no flipper tab to catch on. It is super easy to get your hands past and all that stuff. It's very, very easy. No problem at all. And there's nothing to snag on, anything like that. The jimping that is on the flipper tab is pointed straight down. So it's nothing your fingers are ever going to feel. And there's nothing, it's very smooth across the back, all that stuff. And it slides in and out easy because this pocket clip is riding on that carbon. The tension's very good on the clip. It's lightweight. As you saw, I'll do this again, but as you saw probably, there is a little bit sticking out. But no matter what color you get, mostly what people are going to see is the carbon. And it's not like it comes in any bright, dazzling colors. It just comes in tan or OD green. So it's nothing that's going to hugely stick out. I really do love the way it carries. And the Anthropos too. I love both of them the way it carries. This might even be a little bit better than the Anthropos because it's slightly slimmer in the pocket. I'll put them both side by side here so you can see that. As you can see, the Plethiros is just a little bit slimmer. I hope I'm saying that right, by the way. It's just a little bit slimmer. Not dramatically so, but tiny bit so. Action-wise, Civivi, did it again. I've never had a Civivi that was disappointing, and this one isn't. And as I said on my Anthropos review, this flipper tab has, the Isham prefers, has stifled a few other manufacturers, and they got it. the detent is perfect. Just awesome. Works amazingly well. I have not torn this apart or anything. I think if I did, it would be totally fall shutty, because I know the Anthropos, when I tore it apart and lubed it up, it got a little bit better. Not dramatically so, but a little bit. I think this one will also. Some people have complained on the Anthropos, and they're probably going to make the same complaint here because they're identical in this way, that the jimping was a bit too sharp. I don't feel that way. I don't necessarily agree with that. It is on the sharp side, but with this tiny flipper tab, it makes it work so well. It's nothing that like tears my fingers up or anything, so I can't really say I agree with that, at least on these two examples that I've gotten. And again, I got them from White Mountain. I didn't get them from Civivi. There was no need to, send me an especially good one or anything like that. And they were in sealed boxes. I had to cut them open, so I know that like he didn't check them before he was sent to him. And my detent's been perfect on both, and I just don't find the flipper tab to be objectionable at all. So what is my conclusion? Like I said, I think this and the Anthropos are two of the best things Isham's ever done, and I know they're his budget ones, and I hope he doesn't find that insulting. I don't mean it to be that way, because it's much harder to design a budget knife than it is a a more expensive one. And these are just great. I did see the Anthropos is up in price. The second run of them, they're $79.95 instead of the $74.80. So maybe that's going to happen with this too, because they're identical in construction. I don't know. I don't know what that was about. Maybe the $74.80 was an introductory price or something like that. But we'll see. Right now, they are available $74.80. They're on most places, but if you go to White Mountain Knives, SDWMK checkout, you get 10% off. But I love the looks of it. The ergonomics are really good. I wouldn't call them superb, except for in the kitchen. In the kitchen, the ergonomics are superb. Or if you're doing any task that you're cutting on a flat surface, not just the kitchen, they're superb when it comes to that. As far as other EDCUs, they're really good. Really, really good. But I wouldn't quite go as far as like superb, but really good. And it looks cool, carries really well. Price is right. Can't see any reason not to recommend it. It's both of these Isham designs are probably my favorite Civivis. And look, I didn't show that earlier. The cool new Isham logo, which I think is awesome. Looks like his face. I just think that's cool. And that's the only branding on the whole thing. And then a tiny little D2 mark right there. That's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. And I know I've definitely enjoyed carrying this knife for a whole day and getting this to you. But I wanted to get it to you while they're still available. I've been Brian. Have a good one.